So, Mindy, last that we saw you a couple months ago when we visited your home, you were talking about how Aidan really values his independence. What has it felt like living with the idea that maybe that could possibly be taken away?
It just feels like injustice. That kid has worked so hard to maintain the degree of independence that he has. He's done his share for research. He's participated in placebo arms. He's done everything that he can to put himself in a position to take advantage of the opportunities in front of him. And so the idea that it might be taken away for, reasons that aren't particularly justifiable was pretty frightening.
You once described all of this progress for Aidan as something you thought that you would never actually see. What does that mean to you in the idea that it could possibly be taken away?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is in graduate school right now. He's in the first year of a master's degree program. He has a girlfriend. They're planning a future together. All of those things, we never thought that he would have an opportunity to take advantage of that situation. And so the idea that he would have that opportunity and then have it taken away, it's just tragic for him. I mean, he's thinking about a future and a job and a family and a life. And boys with Duchenne don't get that opportunity very often.
What do you want the FDA to know about how this drug has impacted your family?
Yeah, I would say for him, it has significantly slowed his decline to the point where he's been able to take advantage of these opportunities. He's had experiences over the past 5 years that we never thought that he would be able to have. He's been able to live in a dorm with regular college students, to be able to graduate with his bachelor's degree, like I said, to develop a relationship, to travel to another continent. All of these things that because he's had a slower decline, he's been able to take part in. And every boy with Duchenne deserves that opportunity. And so what I would want FDA to know is the data set that the company has just released. So, we were asking for flexibility when this phase 3 data set came out from the FDA. So the data is now out, and they don't even need to exercise any flexibility because everything is positive. Everything is statistically significant. We were concerned about whether FDA, valued data on their hearts as much as their arms. But in this phase 3 data set, both of them were positive. It is the most unequivocally positive data set I have ever seen in Duchenne. And so they don't even need to exercise regulatory flexibility. All they need to do is just follow the statutes that they have in front of them to evaluate this data.
So you're talking about the data here. Do you want decision makers to focus on that data, but also the people involved and the people at the center of this?
Absolutely. So, it's not an easy thing that the regulators are faced with. They have to decide whether something is helping these boys decline more slowly. And when you only have one person in front of you, it's really hard to figure that out. But if you have a data set across a whole bunch of boys and it's placebo controlled, and you can clearly see that the boys that are on this treatment are progressing more slowly than the whole group of boys that are on placebo, then they need to take a look at what is the meaningfulness of that. And you can see how meaningful it is when you look at individual families and what that slowed progression has meant to those families.
How is Aidan doing now? How is his mindset?
He is good. Like I said, he's not enjoying microeconomics very much. But aside from that, he's doing well in his graduate program and enjoying school and, like I said, being a normal college kid. So he's doing well.
Can you give us an update on where things stand with the fate of this drug at this point?
So my understanding is that this phase 3 data came out in December. Like I mentioned, it was really positive. So the whole Duchenne community, I think, is really excited about it because it is a really unambiguous data set and everything was positive. So the company then provides that data back to the FDA, and then the FDA will evaluate that data and decide their next steps. And they have a range of options available to them. They can set a date for the drug's either approval or denial as quickly as possible. There are a lot of boys that have been waiting for access, in the years that this has been in kind of regulatory flux. Or they can just turn the application down. I can't imagine that they would do that given how positive this data is.